welcome to Science Lab. The signs are happening because the Lord Jesus is coming. Every day we are looking at some of the signs that are happening around us. Today we are going to look at some of the end time signs happening in Europe.
North Korea launches Russia-style missiles after pausing for more than 500 days. North Korea has test-launched a different kind of nuclear-capable missile. North Korea conducted a test of two short-range missiles on the May 9, 2019. Marking its second ballistic missile test in less than a week and showing that the period of relative calm on the Korean peninsula may be ending.
The missiles were launched from the country's northwest Kusong region and flew eastward before falling into the East Sea between North Korea and Japan. The launch came just 5 days after a short-range missile was fired from North Korea's east coast, under the personal supervision of North Korean leader Kim Jong-un. This May 4th launch ended a pause of North Korean ballistic missile tests that started in November 2017 and lasted more than 500 days. The pause was a result of efforts between Kim and United States President Donald Trump to reach a deal to denuclearize the North in exchange for lifting sanctions on the country. But in February, a meeting collapsed after Trump insisted on full sanctions relief for full denuclearization, while Kim sought only partial denuclearization in exchange for partial sanctions relief. Days after the unsuccessful Trump-Kim summit ended, Russia announced that it would host Kim for a landmark meeting with Russian President Vladimir Putin, which took place on April 25th in Vladivostok, Russia. The timing suggests that North Korea's pause in missile tests ended in Russia's blessing, possibly with its encouragement. Not only that, the actual missiles fired by North Korea bear a striking resemblance in Russia's Iskander missiles. Marcus Schiller, an expert on North Korean missiles, told the Associated Press that the launch has Russian technology fingerprints all over it. Russia's advanced Iskander missiles are a major threat to Europe and were named by President Trump in February as the reason for his decision to suspend America's participation in the 1987 Intermediate Range Nuclear Forces Treaty.
Speaking to NPR on May 8, 2019, weapons of mass destruction analyst Melissa Hancom said, North Korea's new Iskander-style missile is a thing we need to start worrying about.
The Iskander can carry nuclear warheads and uses solid fuel, which makes it more rapid to deploy, easier to hide, and more difficult to strike primitively. It is highly accurate within flight, maneuverability, and an operating altitude of 30 miles that makes it difficult to intercept before it makes a sharp turn and strikes its target.
This altitude is too low for United States, the HAAD, and Asia's anti-missile systems, and above the reach of its Patriot interceptors. It poses a serious challenge to threat missile defense. Michael Elliman of the International Institute of Strategic Studies told NPR. Analysts are now yet certain if the missiles that the North fired truly are Iskanders or if they were merely cloned or resembled them. But if Russians have sold Iskanders to Kim, this gives North Korea additional capabilities for striking its enemies. The 38 North website wrote, if North Korea did in fact import Iskanders to Russia, it has an existing capacity to deliver warheads to targets in South Korea with great perception, and an ability to penetrate existing missile defenses deployed in South on May 8, 2019. Shortly after North Korea's May 9, 2019 missile launch, the US announced that it has seized North Korea's ship. The Wise Honest, the North Korea's second largest cargo vessel, had been shipping coal in violation of United Nations sanctions and was stopped in April 2018. The Justice Department began the process of transferring ownership of the ship to the US through a civil forfeiture, the first time the US has taken such an action against a North Korean cargo vessel. American officials said the timing of the disclosure did not come as a response to the North's missile tests, but the announcement would further exacerbate the tension. These developments show the fragility of the relative calm seen in Korean Peninsula over the last year and a half and indicate that it could be short-lived. The Russian fingerprints on the North's new missile, as well as Kim's meeting with Putin and his recent series of meetings with Chinese leader Xi Jinping, reveal the source of North Korea's power and the point to whether more serious threats lie. People of the world should be more wary of Russia and China than of North Korea. These two nations allow North Korea to posture as belligerently as it does. The Bible prophecies show that, in the sense, the North Korea crisis is a massive distraction from the real threat posed by China and Russia. These powerful Asian nations are the only reason North Korea is able to operate so freely, and the Bible prophecy shows that they pose a threat many times greater than the one from North Korea. Nevertheless, nuclear technology from North Korea could still play a major role in events during the time ahead. Ezekiel 38 and 39, Daniel 11, and Revelation 9, 16, and 16, 12. These passages reveal that Russia will lead a mighty pan-Asian military conglomerate in end time. With China in a position of secondary leadership, the Bible shows that smaller Asian nations, like including North Korea, will be absorbed into that Russian-led bloc and lend their military power to it. But North Korea will not be a lead player. These various scriptural passages are linked. With Vladimir Putin in charge, they will soon play a key role in the most violent conflict in mankind's history.
Putin's leadership, including its outreach to Kim Jong-un and possible exports of Iskanders to North Korea, is destabilizing the world and laying the groundwork for a time to worldwide catastrophe.
In the next news, Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz and Member of European Parliament Manfred Weber, who is running for President of the European Union Commission, attended a Christian-themed camp in Germany on May 4, 2019. The event was hosted by the junior staff of the Christian Democratic Union in Germany.
The Young Union represents the next political generation of the Christian Democrat. With the membership averaging around 30 years old, Weber stands as an old politician. Kurz, only 32, fits right into the group and has thus received the nickname Chancellor of our generation. Weber described the bird's-eye view of Europe to the Young Union. He described diversity in cultures, languages, foods, and historical backgrounds. But his audience really celebrated what he identified as a unifying commonality. The fact that in almost every village, in every city, in a Christian church at the center, the rest of his sentence drowned in the cheers of the young Christian Democrats. He only got more applause with his announcement that he would end the accession negotiations with Turkey. Weber's appeal to religion has previously received particular attention. His campaign video shows him taking the holy water in the Catholic Church. No segment like the one with the holy water has caused so many responses, even in Cyprus and France. He said in an interview with Germany Dates Post, it wasn't meant to be missionary, but a commitment to one's own identity. His religious identity shapes his political thinking. His belief that religion is what unifies Europe automatically excludes some countries, such as Turkey, which is Muslim. Paraphrased, Weber as saying that you have to be honest about what the European neighborhood is about. There is a sense of belonging on this continent, and a state that reaches the Iraqi border just doesn't belong to it. This continent is deeply influenced by Christianity. we were told days post. That is a fact that can, of course, not be bruised aside. But the question is, what does that mean for us today? This is not for the museum, but it is rather a leitmotif that provides orientation for the future.
And now it's time for the trivial question of the day. What is common between Member of European Parliament Manfred Weber and Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz?
Option A, Austrians. Option B, Germans. And option C, Catholic.
We'll find out the answer after a short break. Welcome back to Science Lab. The science are happening because Jesus is coming. Before the break, I asked you the trivial question of the day. What is common between Member of European Parliament Manfred Weber and Austrian Chancellor Sebastian Kurz?
And the options given were option A, Austrians, option B, Germans, and option C, Catholic.
The answer is option C, Catholic. Like Weber, Kurz is also a devout Catholic. After his election in 2017, the British Catholic Herald called him Europe's Christian Chancellor. Kurz surrounds himself with a team of practicing Christians. He sought the counsel of a priest during the refugee crisis and is, to this day, in close contact with Vienna Cardinal Christoph Schonborn. With this in mind, it is no wonder that the topic of Christianity played an important role as Weber and Kurz appeared together.
Kurz was Austria's foreign minister during the refugee crisis, and he was primarily responsible for stopping the flow of refugees through the Balkans. This direct opposition to German Chancellor Angela Merkel gained him popularity in Austria. Today, Kurz's party governs with an anti-immigration party. Despite this, he believes that a greater threat to Europe's Christian roots comes from left-wing Austrians themselves.
A former prominent German politician, Zu Gutenberg, has voiced similar fears. In a party campaign speech for the Christian Social Union, he told Bavarians to remember their history with its dark and bright sides, and to take a non-apologetic stand for our culture. He warned them that if they don't, other cultures and religions will come and define the continent. Evidently, Weber, Kurz, and Gutenberg all believe that Christianity is still important for Europe today. Weber sees it as Europe's unifying factor, Kurz as a directive for his politics, and Gutenberg as a way of life that needs to be embraced. These men, along with several other religious politicians, are bringing the Christian church back to the center of European politics. Their speeches, campaigns, and politics are already laying the foundation for the fulfillment of a major Bible prophecy, the final resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire. The Holy Roman Empire has ruled Europe for over a period of 1,500 years. Its rule is marked by ups and downs, mountains and valleys, and governments rose and fell. The Bible reveals that the Roman Empire would be resurrected 10 times, Daniel 7, Revelation 17. The last 7 would be ruled by church and state and thus called the Holy Roman Empire. Bible prophecy, along with secular history, clearly show that 6 of these final resurrections have already occurred, but the 7th has not yet come. The Bible also gives another indication that this empire will be resurrected again. A prophecy in Revelation 17:10 reads, "And there are 7 kings, 5 are fallen, and 1 is, and the other is not yet come. And when he cometh, he must continue a short space." This verse is a key understanding the timing of the next resurrection of the Holy Roman Empire.
The Bible reveals that this final resurrection will again bring much suffering, as it is mentioned in Daniel 11 chapter 40 to 45 verse. But before all this will happen, Europe will return to its Christian roots. That's why we watch men like Weber, Kurz, Gutenberg, and other Christian leaders very closely.
Now, moving on to the next information. Europe developing airlift capacity independent of US European nations fighting European wars will need European military transport aircraft.
The A400M is the world's most technologically advanced military transport aircraft. Since 2013, Europe has been filling its storehouses with this new engineering development. This plane fills a major capability gap that allows Europe to conduct warfare abroad without the United States. For decades, Europe has lacked the necessary airlifters to operate independently. Without enough modern military transport aircraft, European forces cannot range far afield very quickly or in very large numbers. EU military ambitions will also be dependent on adequate strategic airlift, and this remains a notable capability gap. Giovanni Stefania Efstathuo, Program Coordinator and Research Analyst of Defense and Military Analysis, noted this past January. Until 2001, Europe has zero strategic airlift capacity and only a limited number of smaller, short-range tactical airlifters, such as the Transil C-160 and Lockheed C-130 Hercules. NATO created the Strategic Airlift Interim Solutions (SAIS) in 2001 and the Strategic Airlift Capability (SAC) in 2008. This gave European NATO members access to and dependency on US Air Force airlifters. In 2001, the British Royal Air Force began flying the Boeing C-17 and became the first NATO country, besides the US, capable of conducting strategic airlift. The same year, the British and 6 other European NATO members agreed to manufacture their own strategic heavy airlifter, the Airbus A400M. Germany ordered 53, France 50, Spain 27, the United Kingdom 22, Turkey 10, and Luxembourg 1. Other nations have since also expressed interest.
By 2018, France, Germany, Spain, and UK operated 63 military airlifters. The US operated 264 C-17A and C-5M Super Galaxy models. Over the course of the next few years, Europe will quickly catch up.
In 2014, the Joint Air Power Competence Center Journal wrote, "The fulfillment of A400M orders will not only help European nations become a global contingency enabler, but will allow them to act and operate on their own for strictly European operations."
The A400M excels in air-to-air refueling, can operate on unpaved runways, and can drop paratroopers or loads from the air. It fills the capability gap between the C-130, J-130 Super Hercules and the C-17 Globomaster III. Some have even argued that the US military should buy some A400Ms. Military officials say the A400M is a technological masterpiece with game-changing capabilities. It can deliver heavy-lift helicopters or 32-ton infantry fighting vehicles faster to more remote regions. Many biblical prophecies refer to the rise of militaristic leader in Europe who will lead an empire to war. This man will command an army that will surprise and utterly destroy many nations. Daniel 8:32-24 state, "And the latter time of the kingdom, when the transgressors are come to the full, a king of fair countenance and understanding dark sentences, shall stand up, and his power shall be mighty, but not by his own power. And he shall destroy wonderfully, and shall prosper and practice, and shall destroy the mighty and the holy people. Such global destructiveness far surpasses even Adolf Hitler's military ambitions. A prophecy in Revelation 9 shows that military aircraft will play a decisive role in these coming wars.
Apostle John used the symbolic term of locust to describe the terrifying war machines that would be invented by scientists and used by the military in the final world conflict. Notice that these symbolic locusts or grasshoppers are driven by men and are able to fly. Revelation chapter 9, 7 and 9. They will make a tremendous noise and are protected by armed plating. This could describe military aircraft that Europe is currently producing.
All these show that what is mentioned in the Bible that are going to take place in the end times are taking place in our lifetime. We are living in the last days. Lord Jesus Christ is coming back again very soon. Thank you for watching this episode. Don't forget to tune into Science Lab next time.
Send us photos, videos, news, and YouTube links which are worth sharing, and also send us your feedbacks to our email address sciencelab@angeltv.org. If you have missed any of the episodes, don't worry. You can watch it again and again in our Science Lab YouTube page. But don't forget to like, share, and comment on this video.
Ask your friends and relatives to watch the Science Lab so that they will know that we are living in the last days. Remember, the signs are happening because Jesus is coming. Maranatha.